Podcast right now. Hello, welcome to Podcast Right Now. You're tuning into episode 175. It's February 21st, 2021. My name's John Michelle, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk to you kids this week. We got a big episode this week. So many things to just get into, pick apart, and get to the bottom of. Before we get into all that, of course, we like to introduce everybody on the pod this week. $1,000 Dog is here. What's up, Kev?
How we doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. And also on the pod, TV's JG. He's a man, and he's a Blendon County man. Hello, hello.
Those are both accurate.
Did I get
a good accurate statement?
What are your preferred pronouns, please?
There's a lot of them.
Your preferred ones
are pretty good.
No, but the ones for you.
All of it. I'll take them all.
He wants them all. All right.
I want them all. Bring them to me.
I'm going to stick with he, him, if that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
You're not offended? Is that okay?
No, dude. You do you, man.
Okay, Kevin, preferred pronouns?
Yeah, I'm a he, him guy.
Okay, and you guys just put me down.
Call me crazy, but I'm a he, him.
You guys, just so we're all on the same page, throw me down as a he, him as well.
Okay.
So, cool, we got that out of the way. On the episode this week, we're going to get into some movies. We'll do a little bit of video game chat. Hell. We have a question about Hell for some of the call-in members of the podcast, the podcast community there. And when I say call-in, I mean we'll be calling them and asking them questions.
Call outs.
We're going to do a Feb No Brewery check-in. We're right at the end, boys. We're so close. I can almost feel the delicious IPAs rushing down my throat to bury my sadness under a large pile of mashed tun and wart hops.
You're going to swallow a foamy load, and then your sadness will go away.
You got it, my man. You got it. I can't tell if this month I've just been generally grumpier, but I feel like I am. And I feel like I'm like in a state of grumpy where I'm unapologetic about it. I'm just ready to go. Like if anyone wrongs me or if they say something I don't think is okay, I'm just gonna let them know. That's what I've been doing this month, and so far it's been going pretty well.
Was that the you and Carl had the toxic run-in that turned out to be nothing? Was that early in February?
Yeah, no, I had a run-in with Carl. I had a couple run-ins with Super Shark, but that's also just kind of
right.
Knowing him and him having your number, like that kind of thing's gonna just happen. I've sensed what I thought was maybe like weirdness with other friends, and then made a choice to sort of leave it alone, and then find out that like, oh yeah, no, everything was fine. So I don't know what's going on there, but
how are you sleeping?
I'm sleeping really well. I find myself in bed like last night I went to bed at midnight, which is pretty early, pretty good for me. And yeah, I'm getting good sleep. So yeah, it's been nice. I do want a beer. I'm excited for that. When I was talking to my mom about it, she's like, well, like, is everything okay? Like, you're talking about how, you're so proud you're going a whole month without drinking. I mean, it sounds like you got a fucking problem and all this. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It does when you talk about it and you just random people. This is my month off. I'm taking a little break. Well, wish me luck. I'm doing the Lord's work out there,
Right. Well, I mean, what percent of people do you think, like adults who don't have a drink in any given month? Like, do normal people do that? Or?
See, I don't know, man. I don't know if everyone's going home and having a couple beers, I don't know what people do. And it's something that I feel like people, well, obviously if you're like full-blown alcoholic, you're hiding it to some degree. And so it's this weird thing that a human can consume that is absolutely legal but has negative connotations attached to it, it's a weird thing, right? And then of course it also has a major negative impact on your decision making and just your body in general.
Yeah, it's really bad for your body.
Yeah.
Like, not only, like hormonally, it's bad for your body. Like, it just makes you old and fat. Yep. And, but we keep doing it, and I don't think we're going to stop. But I don't know, like, what percent of adults do you think, like, keep it in their house? Like, have beer on the weekly or twice weekly kind of grocery run?
What do you think? I would go maybe like 70%. I mean, 80%.
I was going to say like 40, maybe, or
lower.
buying it like several times a month.
Right.
But that's still a lot. Like that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we're normal. I think we're normal for noticing that we're taking a month off of drinking, and
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and like when and this is, I don't know if this is rationalizing or if it's me just like clarifying my form of alcoholism or whatever, but like I can't tell you the last time I was like drunk, you know what I mean? Like blasted, right? Like it's usually just to catch that 2-3 beer buzz, and then I'm like, oh, okay, it's late enough now to not open another beer and go to bed, you know what I mean? If it's Friday and we're all playing Xbox till 4 a.m, then that's a different situation. I'm going to easily, destroy a 6-pack on my own and be feeling pretty goofy. But if it's just a normal, whatever school night and we have dinner, or if I work, that's the other thing, is I work in bars where I'm kind of in this weird, not a customer, not working position. I do the live trivia, and I'll have a couple beers while I'm working, but that's 2 beers over 2.5 hours or something. So I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right. We're normal. I should say you and I are normal. We'll get Joe's info here in a little bit because he is in a different tier.
I wanted to hear Joe's thoughts on any of the points we just touched.
Let's go, Joe.
Yeah, probably. I think 40 to 50%. That feels like a reasonable number. Would buy it on a bi-monthly basis, I guess. I guess my sleep's been good. I'm doing just fine with this. I have 2 Elvis juices in the fridge that I've had since the end of last month, and those have gone untouched, unfucked with.
There you go.
So,
do you get a twitch in your penis when you look at them?
They're actually in the back of the fridge, so I don't see them at all. But I don't think I would get a twitch in my penis now.
Yeah.
Okay. If I were to see them, it's been really not challenging. I think there have been times when yesterday was bored and didn't have anything to do, and I was sitting in the house, and it's like, oh, I do literally everything that I'm doing right now with a beer or 6, and maybe that would be a much better time than I'm having right now. Just playing, video games and stuff, hanging out. So
yeah, well, I don't think we find it especially hard to do, and so that's probably a good sign. The bit about being irritable all the time, that would be nice to isolate. If you can blame that on something other than the booze, I think that would be a good sign for
absolutely.
Defense.
Yeah, and I hope that's not what it is. But then I think about my personality on the whole, and I wonder if with or without booze, I can be a pushover, or I cannot get concerned or too worried about things.
I don't think that's your problem.
Okay. I wouldn't think it's the booze, though, because you're not...
No, I'm saying without it, maybe I'm a little more like, I have a little more time on my hands to, maybe get pissed about something and be like, okay, no, I am gonna fucking text him back. Whereas, before it was like, oh, well, I'm eating dinner and having an IPA. I don't care what's going on with that. I'll figure it out later, I don't know.
maybe it's weather related. How's your vitamin D intake? There's a shortage of that going around this time of year.
Yeah. I have had some down days this month, just not feeling, motivated or anything like that. And I think a big part of that is me getting into fitness last year and now really realizing the time I'm losing with the weather being this nasty. If I'm going to close my rings, it's entirely on me to schedule that in the house. Or I've been going on walks with the dog, so that's been okay, but it's not fun. It's not what I want to do. I want to ride my bike, So this year's been different than any other year, where I'm looking at the weather every week, wondering when some spring weather is going to start creeping in. Today was pretty nice, and we got 30s. But once we get into the 40s, I can bundle for that, and I can go ride. So, I guess I'm in a different place than in the past. Also, we're in pandemic world, so I am getting exhausted with just not being able to, hang out with buddies and do whatever, and then also see family and get kids to family, so we can have a weekend without children running around the house. I'm being denied many things this month.
So you are getting enough vitamin D then?
I'm outside a couple hours every day, I would think, or at least an hour for the walk, but I'm all bundled up.
Take it as a soft gel too.
That's true, and I take a multivitamin. I don't know. I think my D's okay.
Okay, good reviews on your D.
I tested negative for COVID. We talked about that last week. I can go through that a little bit. I went to the CVS. They have you administer the test yourself, and then we had my wife tested as well, and they said they had a whole bunch of people coming in and getting tested right now with just normal cold season flu type symptoms. So they were really nice, though. I would say top ratings on the customer service and the experience overall. This was, what do they call it? Their wellness clinic or something. I don't know. It's through CVS, but they were all set up in the parking lot, and you just go in this little hut. There were a couple nice ladies in there, and they gave me
How did they tell if you jammed the doodad up far enough into your nose?
Yeah, so with the newer test, and this was the rapid test, so it had a 30-minute period of time before I got the results. And I think with the newer ones, they don't have you don't have to go as deep, but then when I was doing it to myself, I went, an inch or 2 inch and a half in, and they were like, nope, you can go a little further than that, right? And I was like, oh, well, yeah, hold on, let me change the angle of it. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's a whole lot of room back there, and it didn't bother me. I know some people react and said that their eyes would water up or they'd have some sort of reflex. I didn't have that, so it really wasn't painful.
You discovered a new space in your nose.
Yeah, I'm gonna
can fit way more there than you realized.
Some change in there, or whatever I have laying around, maybe a jump drive, see if that'll fit back there. The olfactory chunk of my face.
Warehouse.
Yeah, I got a pretty respectable beak anyway, so I guess it's like a glacier, right? An iceberg, right? It's what you see on the surface. There's a whole network of things behind it. The human body is fascinating.
Are all glaciers icebergs, or only you have to be in an ocean?
I think glacier would be defined as slow moving ice on a landmass, right?
And then an iceberg is any size thing, or how big? How big is it when it becomes an iceberg, and then does it ever stop being an iceberg?
Right. I feel like that's the thing, that Australia is a continent, but it's also just a really giant island. Maybe it's like that.
Okay.
Iceberg is ice that breaks off from glaciers or shelf ice. It doesn't have a size constraint, but there you go. You don't get one without the other. The more you know. We can educate ourselves on podcasts right now.
Icebergs are Jewish, though, right?
Hey,
because of the name, I get it.
Yeah, because of the name.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we got another week of the Feb No Brewery, and what the heck? That's a birthday FaceTime that I'm missing right now. I do it all for the pod. What's up?
Could we co-opt their birthday and make it into our podcast?
Probably. I don't know how fun that would be for the podcast. It's
whose birthday is it?
It's my nephew's birthday.
So we'd be doing him a favor.
His name's Jasper Savage.
He's not going to remember this FaceTime anyway, right? Isn't he? He's pretty young.
Yeah, no, he's really young. I think he's 2.
Well, I was thinking the Feb No Brewery. I'm thinking about running it back in March.
What do you mean running it back? Doing it again
for the month of March.
You'd have to call it something else then.
Yeah, I guess you would.
That's Joe's first concern. And also, I'll say have fun with that. I'm definitely looking forward to a week from now. I'm gonna, you know what? Yeah. I set a scene for my first beer. I'm gonna make a nice little fire and then sit by that with a nice with a leather bound book, and then I'll enjoy a Duvel. I think it's gonna be my go-to first beer back.
It does sound nice, and yeah, I'm bluffing mostly. I think there are 2 pay-per-views in March that are supposed to be really good, and so the next compromise I'm making with myself is maybe I'll only drink on those nights.
Okay.
And see, I always have trouble like trying to shift from one of these months back into a relationship that like seems halfway sort of healthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this will be a good way to do that.
Yeah.
I think I've got the name if you want to use this. It's a little wordy. There's going to be an explanation involved. So you have to verbally explain it to people, probably. I guess you could write it down. It doesn't have to be verbal. But you call it March Madness, and mad is spelled capital MADD for the Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
I like that. Yeah.
That's good.
Not a lot of beer-related words with March.
No.
You could do, like, parched, work that around somehow.
Wouldn't that mean you want to drink, though? Oh, I'm parched. Give me a beer, barkeep.
Yeah, but parched March would mean that you never get to satisfy the thirst.
Yeah. I guess that's better.
Except the only problem with it is that when you're not drinking alcohol, you're actually drinking things that are going to be better for thirst. So it's kind of a you'll be less parched because you aren't, consuming the thing that makes you more thirsty.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you won't be dehydrated as well from having too much beer.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Mm. Well, we could workshop this, and we probably don't even have to if you're just going to drink in March.
So, so my wife did it with me. Not it. She's done that before, but no, the challenge through February, and then we're leaving it with kind of let's not stock the fridge through the week, and let's look forward to Friday and Saturday as our drink a few beers night. So we're gonna do that and see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, honestly, this challenge this month, overall, it wasn't hard, and it wasn't, it's just kind of like I want a beer. That's right. I'm not doing that this month. So whatever. Lots of fizzy drinks. And of course, give you guys a little update on my goal to completely overdose and kill myself on marijuana edibles. I got close a couple nights ago. Got really close. I thought I was going to die. I felt strange. I couldn't really form sentences. Or I couldn't. It took me a long time to express what I had, whatever I had to say to my wife. It was kind of funny. And then I just went to sleep and slept really well. So
that happened to me the last time I did it, which would have been probably a couple years ago at this point. Kevin, you were there for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I lost the ability to speak words, so I had to write them down and then read what I was saying to make my point understood, and then even that was freaking me out.
Yeah, it's not easy going to the edge, but the edge is fun.
Well, I have no gauge of how much you're supposed to do before things start to work, so I just kept on puffing Kevin's little oil pen like several times in a row with pretty decent sized little puffs there, and then
it'll get you.
Like, okay, I feel light and giggly, and then I quickly stopped feeling light and giggly and felt terrified and unable to speak, locked in my own body.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
I wouldn't. I don't know if I would put that on the poster. But,
yeah.
So another thing might be, I think I'm discovering that the pens, the cartridges, most of them that come for those things, they hit a little bit differently, at least for me. So like all of the unpleasant symptoms that I've had in trying to get back into using weed all the time are like my heart rate spikes, and then that's kind of uncomfortable, and it takes a while to settle into it.
Yeah.
So that hasn't happened the last couple days, where I've just been like taking bong hits. Like if you just burn flour, for me anyway, it's a lot easier. So maybe next time we'll have to do that for Joe instead of the pen.
Or set him up with some edibles.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's different because it's a little more like, mushrooms or something, where if you're not used to the feeling, once you've done it, it's done, and there's no turning back. You just like.
Yep. It's always a little bit of surprise, no matter, how many times you've done it. You eat a certain amount, and you expect roughly a certain effect, but it can surprise you, and then when it does, that's just the ride for the next few hours.
Yep. You don't get a say in what happens or how you feel. You do, kind of. If you go into it with a certain mindset, that's certainly encouraged. But
so how many milligrams? What did you do to get yourself out there?
See, it's tricky because these are products that are probably, there's a little bit of wiggle in how many milligrams are in whatever I'm taking. But basically, I have these little 3 milligram gummy bears, and then I also use these brownies, which I believe it's something close to 50 milligrams per brownie. And so I do like a half a brownie.
I thought it was more like 80 in a brownie.
Well, maybe that's the case. Anyways, I've been doing my go-to portion on those brownies has been a half of one. So that, and then I'll if I'm really trying to go for it, which this was I believe Thursday night that I'm thinking of. I'll sprinkle a couple like another 10 milligrams worth of those gummy bears on top, and have myself a little dessert, baby. And then it's sit around for 45 minutes and start to feel comfortable on my couch and tingly. But yeah, I got a bad habit of popping a couple during the day. Like, let's have a fun day where I don't know, just notice things around the world that I wouldn't normally put a lot of thought into, and look into the eyes of strangers and stuff. Like, why is that guy looking at me? No problem here, sir. I'm just here to buy some avocados.
Yeah, I think that's fine. You keep it to a few milligrams during the day. And as long as you can still do all your normal daily functions, and it's the tiniest challenge, and it teaches you, something about yourself to try to navigate the day under the influence.
And there's not a lot to navigate. Let's be honest. I work at night, and I'm typically just driving kids around and stuff. So it's a lot of, sitting around in the car and, just being the escort. I will say that I think I'm a better dad when I'm on a small dose. I'm engaged in conversation a lot more. I've done a lot of puzzles and board games this month, and I feel like I got some good quality time in with the Ninos. This weekend, wife and I, it was my idea, but I was like, hey, instead of, whatever, goof around here like we have been, I think COVID's in a place where, like, let's each take one out into the world and go, do a lunch and get them an ice cream and maybe let them go pick out a goofy toy somewhere. And so we did that. This weekend, Maggie took the 9-year-old yesterday, and I took the 5-year-old out today, and we hit Old Bag of Nails, and they made us a big sundae that we shared after we had some lunch, and then I took her to Walmart, and I let her pick out some new shoes, and she went to the toy aisle and she picked out a goofy thing for her and her sister, and so that was fun just to take them one-on-one, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you have them both and you're trying to do anything, the younger one sort of takes over as far as how attention is dealt out, and so I thought that was kind of a nice thing. Next weekend we're going to flip it, so yeah, good times there. I was tempted to maybe look up the movie theater and see if that would be worth it, like taking her to a movie, but I don't know why I'm so afraid of the movie theater. It's a big space in there,
It's supposed to be a bad date anyway.
Yeah.
It's not a good date. It's just where you go to see movies.
And we watch plenty of those at the
movie
house.
Theater right now.
No, I thought I thought there's got to be some kid movie right now that maybe she would be interested in. But yeah, Kevin, I think you nailed it. That's a pretty lame date. Let's go sit in a room and stare at a thing for 3 hours.
3 hours? You're taking her to see, like, The Godfather?
Well, you know how they make these goddamn movies these days. You got to clear your schedule half a day just to sit down and get the whole thing in. The Irishman. I think that's what we were going to go see.
Kids love The Irishman.
Yeah. Joe Pesci, his target demographic is that 0 to 12 years old. But I think that's just because of Home Alone.
He's funny to them. He appears funny to them.
Funny how?
Funny. Yeah.
Like a clown funny?
Yep, exactly. That Shine Box is hilarious.
Go home and get your Shine Box. That movie is so good, and I only saw it for the first time like a handful of years ago. Goodfellas. And I love Ray Liotta. So, yeah. It's a solid
glad that he's not
flick.
smoking anymore. That
Chantix
really knocked that out for him.
Hey, I'm Ray Liotta. This fucking Chantix will take care of that urge to light up.
No, now it's like that's such good branding. Much like I can't see Matthew McConaughey driving and not think of Lincoln.
Yeah.
Anytime I see Ray Liotta smoking now, it's like, no, Ray, get your Chantix. Come on, you don't need this.
No, what he's doing for the cessation community is amazing. Let's hop into it. Movie talk. We kind of touched on that a little bit, and I mentioned a film directed by Martin Scorsese. Kevin, you have a movie on your list that you saw this week that was also directed by Scorsese. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I have two movies, and they're both kind of Scorsese related. So I had made it a project or mission to work through all the Scorsese movies, or at least the ones that sounded cool.
Yeah.
So this week was Mean Streets, one of the early films with Harvey Keitel, Robert De Niro. And I didn't know a whole lot about it going in. Just, this is Scorsese. It's early. I've liked most of what I've seen from this guy.
Yeah.
And Mean Streets sucks. It's a bad movie.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those movies that I think has now become like a classic or whatever because of what Scorsese has gone on to do.
Yeah.
Something like that. And maybe some people just like it, but it is super boring. And like it has aspects of the other things that like make his best movies good. But it's just so boring. It's 2 hours, feels like 3, and just nothing happens the entire time. Until the very end, and then it's not, I don't know. Disappointed in Mean Streets.
Released 1973, has a Rotten Tomatoes score of...
It's going to be high. It's going to be high.
Be real high. 95% is correct.
Scorsese 95.
Audience score a little lower with 84%. But yeah, I know what you mean, that just goes on the list of classic films everyone should have seen, right next to Godfather and Carlito's Way and The Untouchables and, just some of those older gangster crime movies. Is it a mafia movie? Is it a crime movie?
It's
Are they gangsters?
They might be like, what do you call them? Like, Smurfs, Goompers, the people that the mafia would kind of have run errands, like they're low-level criminals.
Right. Soldiers.
Maybe one of the characters, so can I just ruin the movie for everyone?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Sounds like Scorsese already did, but go ahead.
Yeah, no kidding. So Robert De Niro is like this kind of ne'er-do-well, sort of chaotic character, whatever. In the first time you see him, he's blowing up a mailbox for no reason,
just for shits.
funsies.
Yeah.
And then Harvey Keitel is he's kind of on Robert De Niro's level, or a little bit above him, or whatever. And he's kind of like vouched for De Niro in a way.
Yeah.
To this other guy who De Niro owes some amount of money, substantial amount of money.
Okay.
And then the entire movie is just Robert De Niro doing scandalous, whatever, being a rascal.
Yeah.
And then the head guy or whatever tells Harvey Keitel, he's like, yeah, that fucking Johnny, yeah. And Harvey Keitel's like, yeah, all right, well, let's talk to him or something.
Yeah.
And they just repeat that for 2 hours.
Okay.
And then at the end, Johnny gets hurt.
Does Keitel, is he given the order to kill him finally, or?
No. The other guy, Michael is his name.
Yeah.
The most scary out of the three of them. So in the final sort of act, he pulls up alongside them in a car and shoots him in the neck.
Oh,
it's really similar to the scene from Taxi Driver.
Okay.
His neck is busted open really good, and then he kind of limps away out of the car and probably off into a gutter to die somewhere.
Why is he limping if his neck was the thing that got shot?
Your neck gets shot, you get in a car wreck, maybe the kneecaps, I don't know.
Maybe he twisted an ankle or something.
Yeah. So it was one of those situations where, I felt bad for not having the attention span or something. You see this movie and everyone's like, oh, yes, yeah, it's in the, Library of Congress and super whatever important movies.
Yeah.
And then you watch it and you're just like, this is boring. What?
Right.
What am I supposed to attach onto here?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Lower my expectations if I decide to fire it up. This is my takeaway.
So, I'm gonna go 2 of 10.
Ouch. Yeah. Okay.
Is that now the current lowest Scorsese score that you've seen?
Yeah, this movie was worse than The Color of Money.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Those are fighting words, if you'll recall.
What was the other movie you had on your list?
So the other movie was not a Scorsese movie, but my brother-in-law kind of tricked me into watching it.
Yeah.
By telling me that it was a female telling or female version of Taxi Driver.
Oh.
And that description holds up, I would say. It's wildly different in terms of tone and noticeably not as good, but super weird, super interesting premise that is mostly executed well. So that film is Promising Young Woman.
Promising Young Woman. When was this? Do you know when it was made, or?
In the last year, I think.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
So
it's
2020 release. Yeah.
Okay. How many stars you going on this one?
No. 8 maybe.
Okay.
Maybe not. Like there are stretches where it feels like a 9 pushing 10.
Oh.
But yeah, there's just a couple things that I think are kind of not what I wanted them to do.
It's got Bo Burnham in it.
Oh yes, he's a charmer.
He's a funny man. Nothing in Cassie's life is what it appears to be. She's wickedly smart, tantalizingly cunning, and she's living a secret double life by night.
I could describe. I could just describe the opening scene. I don't think would be too spoilery.
Okay.
So Cassie likes to go to bars and pretend to be like, blackout drunk or, falling down, passing out drunk. She pretends to be that in front of guys and then like gets, someone to pick her up, take her home, and then like start date raping her.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of flips a switch on them at that point.
Wow. And you liked it. Okay. I'll put it on the list. We're always looking for new stuff to watch, so for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that's like not like they were doing something. It's not just like, oh, cool, someone made another movie. Like
right.
It's interesting what they're trying to do.
Cool. Yeah, I was just looking into the movie. Yeah, I think I'll check that out. We'll have Jer Bear add it to the old Plex. Did you watch it on Plex? Is it on there?
It's already on there.
There you go.
I don't know if Kevin watched it on there, but it is on there.
I didn't. I just stole it. But
well, cool. Then you gave us a good one and a bad one. Mm-hmm. I'll do the same with my suggestions. You guys want me to start with my good one or my bad one?
Give us the bad news first.
Okay. Bad news, I would say skip it, is the Framing Britney Spears documentary.
Huh.
Yeah. I think I meant to talk about it last week. We didn't do our WandaVision check-in last week either. We kind of ran out of time. But yeah, anyways, Framing Britney Spears, apparently there's this whole situation where her dad has the rights to a lot of her finances and signs a lot of the deals that she does, and all of that kind of started when I guess she lost her shit and shaved her head and was seen, driving around with her baby not in the car seat and just being kind of wild. And people are upset about this. A lot of people, activist types, they organize on the internet and they do rallies and they go down to the courthouse and hashtag Save Britney and all this stuff. And the whole time I was watching it, I had a real hard time giving a shit about Britney Spears and how many millions of dollars she was denied in addition to the millions of dollars that she had access to. And, I just had a hard time giving a shit. And it's like, if you're an activist and you got that kind of energy to make some, go down to the FedEx store and get yourself some poster board and, make yourself a big sign and meet up with friends and all wear the same shirt and all that. It's like, aren't there, more serious wrongdoings in the world that would deserve your attention versus making sure Britney Spears has control over her career?
It does feel like a very weird time for this to be your cause.
Yeah.
Of all the other things that are going on right now. I watched this thing too, so I'm with you on kind of what's going on with Britney these days.
Yeah.
I don't think I hated it outright, but I also think there's probably a little bit of, I don't want to say hypocrisy, but these people who are such the ardent fans, I have to think probably in some way contributed to Britney ending up in this situation of kind of losing her mind.
Yeah.
People, paparazzi's out there taking pictures, driving her crazy. Who's buying those pictures? It's not the people that don't give a shit about Britney Spears. It's probably the people who are putting on the, so it's almost like a little bit of an apology from them by way of caring the most about her. I'm sorry we possibly drove you to craziness.
Yeah.
I think she's kind of like a lightning rod for all the people who can get that crazy, and she's able to stir them up because she becomes crazy, and so they can sense it in her, and she can, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, it was also just it put a big spotlight on part of all of our. I was going to say part of American culture is to, worship celebrities, and it's kind of gross to see, for an hour and a half straight of just how much Britney meant to you and all this. And it's like, listen, don't get me wrong, I like a couple Britney Spears songs. I'll throw Toxic on, or I have a couple in my Beat Saber playlist. I'm no stranger to Britney Spears, but that's where it ends. You know what I mean? I'm not like advocating for her freedoms online, and I'm not part of some giant organization. I don't know. The paparazzi scenes were interesting. That's always fun to see. There's the term I was looking for. Is this conservatorship? I can't say that word. Yeah, conservatorship that her father has. Jamie Spears over her finances and everything that people are very concerned with.
So does he also like tell her, when she has to be home and that kind of shit, or is it just her money?
I think it's tour dates, residencies, anything like that. He's sending her, and she's doing the song and dance, and then she's getting a percentage of ticket sales, merchandise sales, and all that. And the idea of it is you're mentally not well enough to make, financial decisions on your own, and someone else should be doing for this. And courts take that very serious. And it's probably there's probably evidence of, her past activities or whatever that absolutely warrants this. So, it got to the point where in the documentary, the fans were looking at her Instagram stories and like trying to find subtext and what she was saying, like almost secret messages. Oh, wow, she used a unicorn emoji. Normally she uses a smiley face emoji. And look, it's not an emoticon. She actually used the emoji. Is someone else tweeting for her? Is it, it was just so, I couldn't get invested.
Okay. Sounds healthy.
Never feel sorry for somebody that owns a yacht. All right.
I feel like there's definitely way crazier celebrities out there who are still in charge of all their own shit than Britney Spears appears to be at current date.
Right.
There's definitely an argument to be made that this conservatorship probably is no longer the right thing for her, if it ever even was.
Right.
But at the same time, I just don't really care that much about this particular cause.
Yep. I will say the first half of the, because what am I coming up on? I'm going to be 37 in March. So I was around when Britney popped off, and we went through that whole boy band, and then you had the ladies return, right? It was the Christina Aguilera's and that whole time. That was an interesting, time in pop music. And the first half hour of the documentary is fun because it's a little bit of nostalgia, and here's Britney, her first performance, and here she is on TRL with Carson Daly, and I was like, I remember watching all that on the old satellite TV at Mom's house. That was fun.
Do you remember where you were when you first saw Britney Spears' vagina?
Yeah.
That was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
There was this paparazzi shot. She's going out on the town to have a lovely evening.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, her cooter's hanging out.
Full labia majora. Yeah, you can see it. You can see it all.
It's kind of a big deal. And then also kind of just the context of, here's a woman getting out of a car. Nothing really too sexy about the whole thing. The context really, the whole thing was kind of a disappointing situation. Yeah, and then I guess I wasn't bothered by it when her first banger came out. What is it? Hit Me Baby. Right. One more time. Yeah. Is that the full title? I don't know. Anyways, that song, boom, boom, boom.
I was young when it came out. I was closer to, anyway, I was in middle school or something, right? And it was funny because now I don't think they still do that? Do they still sexualize like high school students? I mean, she was clearly a high school student in the private school, schoolgirl uniform. So that's always a weird one to me, right? I was like, oh yeah, look at this young girl that's, here's a 16-year-old that you could really sink your teeth into, fellas, and here's her new song. I don't know, it's weird, right? Like little pedophile-y.
Yeah. I mean, I think the way that it was kind of shot, like, I think she looked like she was supposed to be 18 or older.
Okay. She's a senior.
But, yeah, she's a senior and she failed a couple of times.
But even still, if you're a grown adult man consumer and that's your jam, like
that's the question. Is like, are they
kind of a loser, man?
You are 16 at the time, right? Or 15 or something like that. So
yeah.
The question is, like, how much are you selling towards like 19 to 25-year-old penises?
Right.
And
there was an interview in the documentary. It was like a late show or some kind of. No, it was like one of those, wake up and here's your coffee shows or whatever, and she's on there. It wasn't anyone specific that I can remember, but they like directly referenced like how sexy she is in her videos, and they're like, hey, and Britney Spears is here, and oh look, you have your money makers with you, and they're like referencing her breasts, and she's like, oh yeah, I have breasts, isn't that wild? It was like this real awkward scene. I'm like, people used to say that shit on talk shows. Oh my god, like fuck, man. Yeah, so there's a couple moments like that where it's a weird thing when you have a young pop singer, and the way they market female rappers and singers is like, okay, get your ass out, and you're to be in the fantasies of everyone that listens to your music now, and they don't shy away from making things super sexualized. It's just kind of weird. I think,
but to be fair to everyone involved, the kind of music that they brought to the table, it's fair that all of the artistry is sort of taken out of it, or cast
disposable.
Aside.
Yeah.
And we're going to be selling on just TNA.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's the machine. That's how it works.
Except I like Toxic a lot, and I got a guilty pleasure Britney song that maybe you can beat Saber to.
Okay.
Gimme More. Do you know this song?
Oh yeah, it's on the GTA 5 soundtrack, so it comes up.
Okay.
I hear it at least once a month. Yeah. Gimme more.
Mm-hmm.
That's toe tapping. I liked what's the one? Not Sometimes. It was off of her second album with Oops, I Did It Again, and it's about a celebrity who Lucky is the one. I like that
so
song.
Lucky.
Yeah. This Hollywood girl. Yeah, I think that was a secret message from
Cry cries in her lonely heart.
Yeah, and all those kids came out of the Mickey Mouse Club. Justin Timberlake, you got your Britneys, your Christinas. It was good. They had a whole factory of pop stars just pumping them out.
Plus Ryan Gosling.
The Goz is from the Mickey Mouse?
I think so.
Damn, son.
Or it's, if not that, then maybe like a Canadian kids club.
That sounds right.
I'll find out.
Anyways, Joe, so you had a similar opinion on it. My good one that I wanted to bring up, while Kevin's looking that up, is the HBO series The Watchmen.
Yeah, he was on Mickey Mouse Club with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, no way. Goz and Timberlake in the same cast? Jeez Louise.
Yep.
Some serious snail trails out there. The Watchmen. I cannot recommend this enough. It was on my list, and it was something that have this part of me that I don't want to start any new shows because I feel like it's an undertaking. Like, oh God, all right, well, how many seasons are there? 5? Oh, Jesus, man. Okay, I guess that's what I'll do for the next 3 months, consume this show. But this one's nice. It's just one season. I was a huge fan of the source material, the original Alan Moore graphic novel. That changed how I view the medium after reading that the first time. And if you haven't read The Watchmen, I don't think you have to be into comics or even the superhero lore to get into it. It's a really mature, set in a seemingly real world. It's an amazing book. So I love the book. I was okay, and I liked the Zack Snyder 2009 movie. The only thing I got bummed about was how they didn't do the psychic squid bomb at the end, and they of course had to change and shorten some things because it has to all happen in 2 hours. But this show, man, they have time to develop characters, and it's a whole new story. None of it is from. I mean, it harkens to. It's set in the same universe, obviously, as the Watchmen comic book, but it's like if you've only seen the comic book, it would absolutely just go with that. And if you've only seen the Scott Snyder or Zack Snyder movie, it would go fine with that too. So like, it's all, canon and it all works together. And they go to some really fucked up dark places in this series, and it's super racially charged. The new superheroes that they come up with and all of that, it's all in there. And I mean, it was, I like 10 out of 10, easy, 10 fishing poles all the way across the board. And I don't think it's because I was already a fan of the original source book and all that. And one thing I really like that they do in this show is they don't spend a lot of time spoon feeding the audience. It has a certain level of respect for whoever's they think is going to watch it, because you have to wonder and you have to guess, and you are not given all the information for every single character inside of the first 2 episodes. You learn new things about the characters, and it's such a brain tease, this whole show, because you're wondering where it's going and what you missed and what you should have paid attention to, but maybe you didn't keep up front in your mind as you were watching it. Cannot recommend it enough. Joe, did you get to watch this, or Kevin, have you seen The Watchmen?
Have not.
Yeah, I saw the movie. I haven't seen any of the show.
Well, please get on it. It's on the Plex. I watched it on Amazon Prime. But yeah, if you haven't seen it and you like the movie or the book, you owe it to yourself to put that in. Really well made too. I don't know. I mean, it's HBO, so I assume they had a decent budget, but just from the writing to the cinematography to the fight, the choreography, like all of it is really well done in my opinion. I really liked it. And then, it was just one of those things that is perfect for me and my brother to talk about, because he's a big comic book dork. And so I made sure to call him at a time where I knew we both would have an hour to just geek out. And so that was always nice at the end of every episode to kind of try to figure out things with the wife, and then also call my bro and be like, dude. So, what else do we got? Joe, did you watch anything this week, or is there anything you want to recommend?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing
before we get into our WandaVision update.
Yeah. No, I'm still doing the romantic / date movie / watch it. So I've got, we didn't get to it last week, so I've got a bit more, and I don't know if I'm going to keep doing this just because these are not good movies.
You're forcing yourself to watch shitty movies. There's a reason you didn't watch them.
Right. No, I mean, there are definitely some good ones out there, but I feel like I must have seen the good ones because I'm kind of scraping the barrel right now to what I'm getting into here.
Yeah.
But here we go. Go over some of these titles, maybe some of the premises and the ratings.
You bet, yeah.
Most of these are available. You're going to find them on a Hulu or a Netflix. So if for whatever reason you wanted to check them out, Should be pretty accessible here. There's one called How Do You Know? You ever heard of this one?
How Do You Know? I've not heard of that.
Okay. Well, neither has anyone else on the planet. It grossed under $50 million against a budget of $120 million.
Whoops.
Yep.
Whoopsie.
Yep. Well, the problem I think might have been that it opened up against Tron Legacy for the anti-Daft Punk demographic in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The cover has Paul Rudd, Owen Wilson, and Jack Nicholson on one side and Reese Witherspoon on the other. So you'd think they're all vying for her attentions, but only two of them are. I won't spoil it by saying which two. It was 2 hours. I think they wanted to have a lot more heart than it actually did in the film. I said 4 out of 10, question mark. Just at the end of it, I felt like, okay, I watched a 2-hour movie. And when I said that it was pretty indistinguishable, just in terms of I'd never heard of it before, later on during the movie challenge, I actually forgot that I had watched this movie already, and then started watching it again, only to realize, oh, it's that one, fuck.
Why do you hate yourself?
Right? Next on the list, we've got While You Were Sleeping. So we remember last time I talked about these, I had Sleepless in Seattle, and the rule of thumb there was that all the sleeping movies have one Bill Pullman in them. So we've got Bill Pullman in this thing. Sandy B pretends to be the girlfriend of a man in a coma, but she falls in love with his brother, who is Bill Pullman. I gave it an 8.5. It was some strong Sandy B.
It sounds like a cool premise. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, that's one of the few I would recommend.
It's probably what my wife would do if I was ever comed.
She'd shack up,
fall in love with one of my brothers. Probably the attractive one.
Next on the list, we've got You've Got Mail. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan reunite in the movie world as bookstore owners by day and AOL chat room flirts by night. Dave Chappelle shows up in this randomly as the best friend of Tom Hanks.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, he's playing it pretty straight here. There's no, comic relief to be had. You just...
Okay.
They're working on a job site. He hands Tom Hanks some plans for the job, and they have a short conversation. This is another one where it falls into the trope of both parties starting off the film with a different significant other than they end up with. Had a very 90s New York feel to it, but in the good way. It's
almost like New York is one of the characters in the movie.
You'll find that a lot in the rom-com. There's a big city, and this one happens to be in New York. It also made me feel very nostalgic for dial-up modem sounds, and I think that added an extra point to the rating. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Kind of surprised you hadn't seen You've Got Mail yet.
Yeah. Nah, that's... I am too, to be honest.
And now you've seen it.
Yeah.
Let's see. You've Got Mail. He was... she had a small little... bookstore, and he was coming in from the big.
Yep, he's coming in from opening the corporate world.
He was the man, yeah.
Yep, and then they end up falling in love.
For my money, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan together, though, come on, it never gets old.
It's a great couple. You love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I've got It Could Happen to You, starring Nick Cage as a police officer who isn't able to leave a tip, so he offers to give the waitress half of his lottery winnings, or come back the next day to leave a regular tip. This also has the same trope just mentioned. They both have significant others at the beginning of the film. Nick Cage is playing it very un-Nick Cage in this film.
Oh, he's not screaming and tearing his clothes off and stuff?
Nope, he's I guess doing the Nick Cage equivalent of that, but in a charming way.
Okay.
Just very down-to-earth, very relatable as an everyman police officer.
I had to pull up a photo to see what era of his hair he was doing, because Nick Cage's hair fascinates me.
I think this was 93 or 94 when it came out.
Almost
early 90s.
Kind of like a face-off era Nick Cage.
Right. This was a fun fact, loosely based on an actual event in New York where an officer and a waitress, they split a ticket, both chose 3 numbers, but it was different enough that they didn't have to pay royalties to the real people. So it's a fun fact. Sweet, but unremarkable in that the entire movie, everything that's going to happen just from reading the synopsis of, or the description of the movie. It's another fun use of New York as a character. You know, it's a man on the streets where, hey, you guys, that type of a random shout out.
So what? She's at the airport. That flight's not leaving for another 15 minutes. I think you can make it.
Exactly. Hey, you want to go to JFK or LaGuardia?
All right, buddy, I'll get you there as quick as I can. Love. It's always a cab driver involved.
Yeah, Rosie Perez was in this too, so that's like the ultimate of New York there.
Yeah.
We got Date Night was next. This is Steve Carell and Tina Fey are a married couple in need of a date night. They are mistaken for another couple who are in with the wrong people, and a wild night ensues. I wanted to like this movie because of Steve Carell and Tina Fey, but it isn't that funny. Apparently, I also watched the extended cut of the film, which was an hour and 42 minutes.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Well, that was what was available, but I also don't know how an extended cut is an hour and 42 minutes.
It's part of Steve Carell's contract. Everything he does is gold. So they're like, film it all. We'll make an extended cut.
The outtakes during the end credits looked like everyone was having a way better time than I just had. If you are thinking of watching this film for your actual date night, save yourself the trouble and watch reruns of The Office and 30 Rock, or just dump your significant other. 3 out of 10. Roger Ebert gave this 3.5 stars. It grossed $152 million and won 2 Teen Choice Awards. So, what do I know? Take what I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah. No, that one I've seen. I think I remember kind of liking it, but as much as you can like a movie like that, you know what I mean? So, kind of forgettable, but some chuckles in there, I think.
I've got kind of the same thing, but funny. It's called The Lovebirds. This is on Netflix. I said it's basically a funny version of Date Night, starring Kumail Nanjiani. I have always mispronounced his name.
Yeah.
And it's directed by Michael Showalter. Tight 90 minutes. None of this extended cut bullshit. 8 out of 10.
The Lovebirds. Okay. This is newer, yeah.
Yeah, it's very, not very, I think 2018, 19.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much the same thing. It's a couple. They're in with the wrong crowd. They got to figure out something, and then not necessarily a rom-com, kind of like an action-y romp.
Okay.
Good stuff, though.
So you're saying thumbs up?
Oh yeah, 8 out of 10. It's one of the better ones that you're going to watch. Next one was Runaway Bride. Julia Roberts has a history of leaving men at the altar, and Richard Gere is writing an article about her. They fall in love, but then she leaves him at the altar after finding out about the gerbil in his ass. There's the other significant other trope is present here. Gere has a Brooklyn accent that seems to come and go by the sentence. They are charming together, though. 7 out of 10.
What's with the gerbil in the ass?
It's an old Richard Gere legend.
It's like an urban legend thing or whatever.
Well, maybe it is, and maybe it isn't.
Okay. Armageddon, right?
Legend. What's that?
He shouts Armageddon or something like that. Do I remember this? Or
that's part of the gerbil play?
Yeah.
When the gerbil goes in his ass, he shouts Armageddon?
No, doesn't some gas get lit on fire and it shoots the gerbil out or something?
I think you're thinking of the extended cut version of the Richard Gere urban legend.
I'm so confused. I thought I knew the tale.
No, it's I think there was one time though when he had to have his stomach pumped because it got too full of gerbils.
Wow.
It's like, the one gerbil gets stuck, so you got to send in another gerbil to get that gerbil out.
Yeah.
Soon enough, you got a whole thing of Chilean miners in your ass, but it's gerbils. Cave collapses. I got more on this list if you want me to keep going.
You have to keep going.
All right, well, here we go. We got Maid in Manhattan next. J-Lo stars as the titular maid. She tries on an expensive outfit and accidentally gets asked on a date by Lord Voldemort. Sparks fly, but how will he feel when he finds out the truth? There's not really an antagonist in this film. It's kind of man versus self, because she has created the ruse. Maybe man versus society, because they won't accept a maid dating rich Lord Voldemort. They end up spending the night together, which isn't shown, so the audience is left to ask their own questions. Who was on top? Where did he finish? Did he make her call her 10-year-old son while he was hitting it from the back and make him beg to stop? All valid questions, but in the end, the movie was a 3 out of 10. Not bad enough to be good, just bad.
There you
It
go.
was weird. They hooked up like halfway through the movie, and then they had to still keep figuring stuff out.
Well,
Very
sometimes
weird
you need a break in the action there.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, you make such beautiful pages. Thank
Beautiful pages.
you.
I've got a walk to remember on this list here. A mismatched couple. He's a no-good-nick, and she's the weird kid. They end up together about halfway through the film, and you ask yourself, what will they do with the rest of this runtime? Only to find out that they're even more mismatched than you had previously thought, because he's a healthy young stud, and her body has stopped responding to cancer treatments. It's not as fun as it sounds, but he does name a star for her. It's a 2 out of 10.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's a fair review, and I haven't seen it, so.
Yeah, this is, when I was watching it, I said to myself, this feels like some Nicholas Sparks shit. And it was some Nicholas Sparks shit.
The Fault in Our Stars?
No, that's a different guy. That's somebody else.
Oh.
The new Nicholas Sparks.
Ah, okay. Same lane, though, right?
I believe so, yeah. I guess the book was initially set in the 50s, but they made it be the 90s for the current crop of high schoolers they were catering to. Mandy Moore is pretty awful in it.
Okay.
And then so is Shane West. She does sing a song. I feel like they maybe built that around her to sing a song and sell some Mandy Moore albums.
Sure. Is the song good?
Yeah, sure. She sings well.
Okay.
Not well enough to keep doing it. I think she's more of an actress. If she's even still doing that, I don't know. Should have researched what Mandy Moore is doing these days.
I'm sure she's working. Mug like
we
that?
Also had, what?
So the mug like that? I mean...
Oh, it's a great mug.
It's a good mug.
Pour some coffee all over that mug.
Yeah.
I also watched Monsters Ball. Are you guys familiar with this film at all?
I did see Monsters Ball, I think.
Okay. Well, this was with the romance movies on Hulu.
Oh, no, I didn't
Billy
see
Bob
this. Is
plays
this
a
another
racist.
J-Lo one? Oh, no, I did. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, Billy Bob plays a racist-ish prison guard who falls for Halle Berry, so he's not a very good racist. I said that it was a good movie, but probably mislabeled on Hulu. It really didn't have very many romantic elements about it at all.
No, the movie is incredibly dark, man.
Yeah.
Why was this on your romantic movie?
I was looking under the romance section on Hulu, and then it had a description that talked about how they fall for each other.
Oh, God,
and they do, but in a very dark way.
In a very dark way.
Yeah.
No, that sex scene is super awkward. But you do get to see Halle Berry's breasts in the film, so there's that. Did that influence your score at all?
I gave it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, Halle Berry's partial frontal definitely played into that.
Okay.
Some Heath Ledger in there too, if you remember that, and then also the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond. Like the first time you see him, he drops the N-bomb, so that was kind of jarring but fun.
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tell Kevin what happens. He's not going to watch this. Doesn't her kid get hit by a car or something?
Yeah, so a lot of fucked up stuff happens. So when you first start the movie,
I could watch this one.
You like Billy Bob? That's true. Okay,
and I like a good, fucked up. Yeah, I'll watch this.
Yeah, watch this one. This is
you'll want to take a shower after you watch it.
Yeah, anytime you see Billy Bob acting, you feel like you're a little dingier than before you started the movie. He's so good at being kind of a dirty person.
Yeah.
What's this one called?
Monsters Ball.
Monsters Ball.
Not Monsters, Inc.
There's another really messed up movie called Just Monster, and that's the Eileen Werner's story.
Yeah. That's kind of a romance too, isn't it? Because she falls in love with Wednesday Addams.
Yeah. But then it all balances out if you watch a third movie called Monsters, Inc., which is more of a lighthearted where do monsters come from, and why do they need us to be afraid of them?
I felt like Monsters, Inc. was a little bit of a ripoff of a movie called Little Monsters that I always thought was very inspirational when I was a kid.
In Little Monsters, do they power their world with kid fear?
They do not.
Okay, I forgot.
No. They just scare kids because it's fun, and they're monsters.
It's got that Howie, what do you call him?
The Howie Mandel.
Mandel, yeah.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandal.
Yeah, I just always thought that, like, being able to slip through, where the space under your bed becomes liquid and you're able to pass into a different world.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, the closet doors, and then
was the subject of more than a couple fun dreams when I was a kid.
Wow.
So.
Was Fred Savage in your dreams?
No, but Boy was there.
Oh, Boy was really scary.
Yeah.
I would assume
gnarly ass villain.
I would assume Kevin was Fred Savage in his dream. Did you find a mirror in any of your dreams?
No, I don't remember. I think if you see a mirror in your dreams, you die in real life.
Yeah, I don't think you want to look in that mirror. Yeah.
Try not to do it.
Don't do it. All right. Well, Joe, is there more?
There's more.
Let's get into them.
Good Luck, Chuck. You seen this? You heard of this one?
I think so. I thought it was a show. I'm thinking of.
You might be thinking of Just Chuck.
Okay, what do you got? Oh wait, Good Luck, Chuck is Ryan Reynolds, right?
Nope. This is Dane Cook.
Oh no, the other
discount Ryan Reynolds. So there were actually a couple Dane Cooks to be had on Hulu under the romance section. This sounded like the most promising of them. The other one also started Jessica. This one stars Jessica Alba. The other one starred Jessica Simpson. And there was another one on there. I don't remember which Jessica that starred. I guess Beale. It would have to star Beale.
Probably
Dane
Jessica
Cook only
Biel.
works with Jessicas.
Yeah.
But he's been cursed in this film, and that every woman that he's with sexually will end up marrying the next man that she meets after she's with him. So a lot of women come to his door wanting to shack it up for a bit so that they can end up getting married. This felt like it might have been a funny movie if you were a college student circa 2003.
Yeah.
The jokes either don't hold up or maybe they weren't that funny to begin with.
Hold on, you would have been a college student circa 2003, wouldn't you?
I would have been just starting college then. I didn't see it at the time,
okay.
So I might have. Yeah, I might have thought it was funny then. I do remember my freshman year listening to the first Dan Cook album, or maybe the second one. And thought it was pretty funny at the time.
Oh yeah. It's a bummer Carl's not on. He's a huge Dane Cook fan. He played those.
Is that a falsehood?
No, it's true. I mean, he modeled his life around the man in our high school era. Yeah.
Was he one of the ones that got caught joke stealing, or why did he fall off the world?
It became, I think, a lot of comedians resented him because he found popularity and success in the comedy world, but he did it in a completely different way. He gained this huge following through MySpace, and it just broke the rules.
That's right.
It just broke the rules of all comedians at the time. And this was in an era in comedy when it was sort of the tail end of that era in comedy when you did comedy so that you could get movies and so that you could get TV shows. Comedy wasn't necessarily the end goal. I'm sure it was for some comedians then, and I mean, the good ones are still around now, but I think Dane Cook kind of blacklisted himself in that world, and then Step Brothers came out and they were making fun of Dane. It was just like a popular thing to shit on Dane Cook, and he talks about it all the time. And I've seen interviews with him more recently where it was just like, yeah, it was a real bummer. People were incredibly rude to me for 5 or 6 years.
I know he shows up in an episode of Louie where he plays himself and doesn't he make Louie suck his dick or something like that?
I think so. I think he jerks off in front of him or something.
Well, yeah,
no, but I feel bad. I feel bad for Dane Cook, and I absolutely loved his albums and stuff growing up, and I think he probably still has the juice in him. I bet you'll see more specials out of him and things like that. I don't think it's over for Cook.
I remember I liked one of the ones,
yeah,
and then like a subsequent one seemed like it was less emphasis on the jokes and way more emphasis on just yelling into the crowd.
Right. The Dane Train.
Yeah. Did he call it that?
I think it was called like Redemption or something like that. And it was like 3 CDs long.
That's a lot of stand-up comedy.
Joe, I was just telling Joe that I wish Carl was on this episode, because Carl was like such a huge fan of Dane Cook when we were. I mean, we all were, but I feel like Carl really, like, I think he had posters and stuff in his room.
Carl was the one distributing the CDR copies of his album
to the drama club. He was handing it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we listened to that album many times and quoted, and he, I think it was funny. I don't know.
No, I loved those albums. And then I remember the first time I saw him in any kind of, like a video, like stand-up special, and he did this thing, this joke. He was a real physical comedian, but he did this joke about a xenomorph or something, like from the Aliens, and he like put water all over his face, and he's, making this crazy face. I got a real kick out of it.
And I liked him in that episode of Louie. I think he comes across pretty well.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Something about his name. If he had a longer name, I think he wouldn't have been a target. He would have been such an easy punchline if it weren't so quick to say his name. Dane Cook, in and out.
Yeah.
2 4-letter words. Yep. 7 letters.
Andy was a white man. This country's always trying to take down a white guy. You know what I mean? I think his confidence was, he was asking for it. He painted a target on his back.
Right. He also was like, on the right side of average looking, and but he would wear like tank tops, I think.
Yeah.
And so I think he put himself in a little bit of a like frat boy, section of the room.
He kind of falls into that rock star almost type comedian. Your Andrew Dice Clays and Kinnisons, where it was more about like, drinking and screaming and having a tagline, maybe more so than it was, I don't know, writing good comedy. I've always liked his stuff, so. But,
well, we should write him a letter.
Yeah, let him know that we approve and that we'd love to have him on as a guest.
Sure. It's time for a Dane comeback.
He caught a bad deal when everyone started shitting on Dane Cook.
Let's uncancel him. He was never really canceled, but he kind of was canceled. Like,
basically,
not for a reason.
Yeah.
But let's get him off the list.
Let's uncancel Cook. Yeah, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need to do. Fuck save Britney. Let's save Dane.
Joe, you didn't really like slice him up, and he's not in your basement right now.
No, that he's not on my celebrity list, so that wouldn't make any sense.
Okay.
Well, I do have one more film for you guys for this list, and then we can call this one a day. It's a movie called On the Rocks.
Okay.
I had never heard of it. It's got Bill Murray. It's got Rashida Jones, and it's directed by Sofia Coppola.
Yeah, we just watched this one not too long ago.
Okay. Let me know what you think. I thought it was it said slow burn is not quite the right term because nothing is burning. It's more like when you load up the crock pot with tasty ingredients, then leave for work without actually turning it on. Gave it a 4 out of 10.
Okay. I enjoyed it more than that. I think I went more like 6 out of 10. It was entertaining enough to keep us wondering where it was going, and then the scene with him and Rashida, where they're kind of spying on her husband to see if he's cheating or anything. That's a good time. So yeah, I think I liked it a little more than you did, but I'm gonna go help with some family stuff, and then when I get back, I got a movie themed game that we'll hop into. So I'll be right back, boys.
All right. Can't wait for this movie-themed game.
How many fishing poles was the Rashida Jones thing?
I went 4 out of 10 on that. It just seemed like a lot of nothing happened. Like, and the things that did happen, I don't know. I guess I was really just expecting more from the Bill Murray, Sophia Coppola combination, having like Lost in Translation when that was first on the scene or whatever.
Yeah, I remember seeing a preview for this one and seeing just enough to be intrigued at Bill Murray and Rashida Jones' chemistry. But
yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I don't know. Maybe 4 out of 10 was a little harsh. There's nothing really wrong with it. I think my expectations were just up.
Lost in Translation, is that an 8 or 9 for you?
Yeah, that's probably closer to the range. It's been a long time since I've seen that one, but yeah, I would say that's probably where I'd put that.
That's one of the movies I just never saw. So I feel like maybe I should go back and see that one.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see if that one even holds up for me on a rewatch. It might as well be the first time I'm watching, just because I want to say probably when it came out was when I saw it. Haven't seen it since then.
Okay.
Bill Murray in general, though, has kind of a lot of those movies, like pretty indie-ish, where he's good in them, but not too much actually happens.
Right. Well, did you like The Life Aquatic?
Yes. Yeah, that's
okay.
Easily a 9, probably 9.5. One of the better Wes Andersons. I mean, I do like Wes Anderson quite a bit, but I would put that towards the top tier.
Yeah, I think I agree with all of that. Did you guys do WandaVision while I had to take a pee?
No.
Dang it.
Have you? You haven't seen any of it, then? I'm taking from this.
No. Yeah, I don't. Okay. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Yeah, it's got all these X-Files to work through.
True. Yeah, it did end up eating into my Ally McBeal time. I'm not moving through that as quickly as I'd like, just because that's one that the lady and I are having to watch together. So even though this movie or this series is, 20 almost years old, we're still taking the time to watch them one at a time together.
And do you guys not? You don't have a lot of time to just binge through them?
We kind of work different hours some days, so
right.
Yeah, man. Sometimes I'm not really feeling like what. I don't typically go in for the binge in general, so to watch more than
when it comes to movies.
Well, so that's when it comes to TV
shows. Yeah. You know what? Damn it, ruined.
No, I'll watch
perfectly good joke.
I'll watch movies back to back, but then TV series I don't want to burn this one out too quickly. I think there's only 6 seasons of Ally McBeal, so we'll burn through that too quickly. I'm hoping that
Go ahead.
I'm just hoping that I stick with it after, thinking about how many series I've started and then never ended up finishing. That list is quite long.
Did you ever watch a show called Kenny vs. Spenny?
No.
I'm not sure how many people have heard of this, but it was a Canadian, whatever it is, CBC show. So it's 2 guys. They live together and they do these competitions over the course of 3 days usually. And one of the guys is this sort of conniving, calculated, sort of sociopath, but he's really likable. And then the other guy is on his face, a very follows the rules, decent guy, but he's just annoying as shit and everyone hates him. And so through the course of these competitions, sometimes it's a straight up, more or less, both of them actually trying to compete on the thing. And then sometimes it's just Kenny, who's the devious one, sort of bending the competition or screwing with Spenny's head in some way. And I don't know. If you haven't ever seen it, then I would be interested to show it to you.
Okay. Do you know where I can find? I've definitely heard the name of the show, but outside of that,
We might be able to
you anything
talk Barry into plexing it, or I could, get it to you on a thumb drive, I guess. But
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows, I think, was they did Who Can Eat the Most Meat, and it's just super, super gross. They eat a lot of meat.
Was this like existing at the same time frame as Ally McBeal, or was that just another show from a while ago that I should see?
It was after Ally McBeal. I think it was like mid 2000s through early 2010 or something like that. And Kenny went on to become, or had already been, a writer for South Park, I think. They've done a couple other like TV shows and been in movies and stuff, but
yeah, none of these people look familiar. 2002. Wait, are there literally only two people in the show?
Yeah, I mean, like the camera, the crew becomes sort of like characters in it, and they'll go to like guests and specialists and stuff depending on what the competition is. They'll do little sit downs and stuff, but yeah, basically it's those two. Okay,
and their actual names are Kenny and Spencer.
As far as I know, yeah, that's how they build themselves anyway.
Huh. Do you want to start talking about heaven and hell, or we should probably save that until...
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of late now. I would like to get Carl's thoughts on this. What's Tyler doing? Can he talk right now?
What do you want?
We're trying to decide whether to have heaven and hell discussions. We're going to wait for Carl.
The Black Sabbath album thing?
No, that's what Joe said too.
No.
No, like the actual existence or non-existence, and how would you decide who goes to heaven, who goes to hell, how many of each kind of person gets to go where?
I feel like this discussion was already done 2,000 years ago, and it's set in stone, and we all know the rules.
Okay. So is it, if you follow the rules, if you follow all the rules, you go to heaven, and if not, you go to hell?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I believe.
And so almost everyone ends up going to hell that way?
Yeah, that's fine, I guess. Why are you talking about this? Is this thing, you guys doing the podcast, or are you just talking?
We're doing the podcast.
John's helping with family matters, though, so we're vamping.
Yeah. Well, Carl and I had a conversation this week that involved someone going to hell, and then it got me thinking, like, how many people do I think should go to hell? And what I came up with, I think my favorite is 1 person out of 100 goes to hell. Something like 20 people out of 100 go to heaven, and then everyone else just dies.
Oh, I like that system. What sparked this conversation? What were you guys arguing about? Like, what was the situation?
Yeah. We'll just get into it. So it was the Rush Limbaugh thing. He died on Thursday, I think it was, Wednesday maybe.
Oh, he's definitely in heaven. Yep.
So Carl got Deadpool points for him, so it was going to come up in our thread or whatever. And then later, I was browsing our merch on the website, and I noticed that Carl had added a lot of new items that featured a design that just said "Burn in Hell Rush," and there were a lot of new products. It felt like there was energy behind the number of SKUs that had the design.
There was a tote bag.
Yeah.
Burn in Hell Rush tote bag. Now, could that be confused with a band? Because no one's going to buy that.
And I'd had a picture of Rush Limbaugh, so you wouldn't get that.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So I just sent him a snarky text or whatever, or I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting, choice you made here." And then I was thinking about, what would someone have to do for me to be excited
that they died.
That they died, and that now I get to imagine them in hell. And so I think Andy Geiger, who was the athletic director that sent Maurice Claret up the river, I probably would like to imagine him in hell. But outside of that, hell just seems like a pretty harsh penalty.
Rush Limbaugh didn't do anything bad, right? He just had a radio show and he was addicted to pills.
Right. So
who cares?
Yeah. So I remember like thinking, thinking he was kind of amusing and maybe said some things that felt emotionally sort of in the right direction. But so Carl's thing was he did a bit. I don't know if it was a recurring bit or what, where he would read the names of gay people who had died of AIDS. He would read their names while disco music played and church bells kind of rang as the background to that.
Well, that's just funny. Like he's saying a funny joke.
I mean, I want to hear the bit, I guess. I think at a minimum that entitles Carl to read Rush Limbaugh's name and then play banjo music or something. But I don't know. I just maybe we'll talk about it when he's on the show next, or maybe not. But yeah. So I was like, heaven and hell, and if everyone has to go to one or the other, then I think it probably has to be. I imagine it being a lot of heaven to not so much hell.
Yeah, do you think Rush Limbaugh made more people happy or more people sad in his lifetime? Like, if there was some sort of scale, did he bring more joy upon people or more despair? I think it's joy. People that listened to him liked him.
I would agree with that. I would think that there are more people that listened to him and he actively brought joy as a measure versus people who are just kind of aware of him and things he might have said. So I don't think those people are actually as negated as in terms of versus the people who brought joy.
Probably a special place in heaven for such a figure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be close to 50-50 in terms of how people felt about him, and then you're right, the people who don't like him have the option of just not letting him be a part of their consciousness.
It's not like he's a serial killer or something. He didn't do anything that big of a deal.
But I guess then you can get into the question of, is the act of bringing joy, does the actual act of bringing joy outweigh, like, what is being said or done to bring joy? Like, if it's just joy versus suffering, that's one question, but then, would there be figures on this list who, maybe do some pretty fucked up stuff to bring joy?
Let's think of one.
I mean, I guess everything comes back to Hitler in this manner. So if
Hitler bring way more despair and suffering than joy, I think.
That's true. But you could also, I guess, as a thought experiment, imagine, like,
was the Nazis' joy overwhelming compared to the Jews' suffering?
Yeah, you could imagine that the Nazis really, really liked killing Jews more than the Jews did quantifiably. Well, I mean, let's say that the Nazis lived way longer, so therefore their joy was exponentially greater than the quick suffering of the gas chambers. I guess quick isn't right, but
yeah.
Like, if you just are looking in terms of quantifying joy versus sorrow, that's tough to do.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't think Rush Limbaugh is. I don't know anyone that actually cares about him, that he's dead or alive.
Well, that's the other thing is, I think that the shirt that Carl made is more about it's telling people who liked him, like, fuck you. I didn't like this guy.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys were a political podcast.
We try to stay away from it because we're all stupid, but sometimes John leaves us unattended and we can't help ourselves.
What happened to him? You said his family's in
his family, they're on fire. Yeah. Small grease fire.
Is there a John update?
He's been gone for like 10 minutes, so it's probably not going well.
Yeah, I heard one of the kids kind of screaming for him a little while ago, so might just be trying to get her calmed down. Or there's a fire. There could also be a fire.
Yeah, he's muted himself, so he might be saying some choice words for that wife and kids of his.
Stay out of Dad's Rush Limbaugh collection. Where'd Carl go? I want to hear his. I want to know why he hates Rush Limbaugh enough to make a handbag about it.
Well, it's the gay person thing. I think he does have a gay brother, so he gets to claim some offense on his behalf or whatever.
I have a gay brother also in law. It's not a joke.
Oh, I thought you were just making fun of Joey at first.
No. One of wife's brothers is a homosexual.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it affects me as well. Super pro gays.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I think I feel like it lines up with the people he's supposed to hate or something, and so yeah, this guy died. He's not here. He had school stuff, so maybe we'll have him next week and we can get into it with him. But yeah, that's
school stuff at 8:00 on a Sunday night.
Well, yeah, like he's doing it online, so you have assignments to do in a certain amount of time, and
yeah, it's probably doing 4 hours, and he just started it. He's a lazy leftist.
Those are primary hours to crank something out that's due on Monday morning. That's what that kind of assignment is.
This is capitalism hours. This is bullshit. Someone else should do his homework for him. Where's our hero Rush when we need him?
It would be nice.
Yeah, I'm having family danger too.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us.
It's the risky run of having a family. You'll have to watch out for these pratfalls, Kevin, when you're married and possibly having kids.
Only if we're still doing the podcast, though, right? Otherwise, there are no pratfalls.
Well, I mean, you still don't want your children to be on fire in general, whether it's on the podcast or not. It's definitely a more inopportune time if they're on fire when you happen to be doing a podcast.
It's a good point. Maybe I'll call John and see if we can get him in here.
Yeah. Do we think that at this point, this last 15 minutes is going to be on the cutting room floor or a Patreon exclusive?
No.
I'm not sure how engaging this vamping has become. Vamping really seems like a conversational style that's best in like 60-second increments. We're well in excess of that.
Well, what else is going on with us, Joe? Let's just talk.
Sounds like you got a voicemail.
Yeah.
This was not a very exciting week for me, so I don't have anything super exciting. I'm trying a new cereal. I got that going for me.
What kind of cereal?
So last week when I was at the store stealing avocados, I got Fruity Pebbles, and that worked out well, so I decided to go a little bit maybe more exotic. I got some Tricks with marshmallows. It's Trolls themed. I guess there's either a new movie of Trolls coming out or there just was, but that's all up in the box too. The rabbit's got troll hair. It's wild, man.
Fruity Pebbles I enjoy, but they get the little bits of them cling to the bowl if you don't rinse it out immediately.
Yeah, that was pretty annoying. Yeah. I did not rinse it out immediately. I left it sitting on my desk. I thought, this will be fine. And I tried to scoop like the last little remnants and just have a spoonful of it. Nope, they were clung.
Yep,
soaked that bowl for quite a while.
It'd become hard. You know what I liked a lot? It was like dangerously tasty. A couple months back was crunch berries. Ever eat this crunch berries?
Like the Oops All Berries, or the ones with the yellow pieces in them?
With the yellow pieces, just original Captain Crunch with crunch berries.
Yeah, that's a good one too. But it's no joke about the whole cutting the roof of your mouth thing, unless they've changed the formula.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. There are a lot of cereals though that I actually prefer to have already been in milk for a minute or two by the time I take my first bite. Okay, I like an al dente breakfast cereal.
Yeah, the Fruity Pebbles that I had this morning, I found some strawberry in the fridge, so I cut up one of those and threw them into the Fruity Pebbles, and it kind of felt like the strawberries in there really elevated the fake fruit flavor of the Pebbles. It's a good move to put the fruit in the cereal. I'm not sure if that's something you're on board with as well.
It's, I think the only fruit I've ever put into cereal would be like banana slices and blueberries. And then maybe some blackberries, especially in an oatmeal, could do. But no, a fresh strawberry is not something I usually get into.
Well, if you have them on hand, I would say it's worth. Probably wouldn't work in a chocolate-based cereal. You want to go with something that's already fruity or maybe neutral, like a Cheerio of some kind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also noticed today, though, too, that in the cereal aisle, there's some kind of a Dunkin' Donuts cereal. Well, I guess it's actually just called Dunkin'. So I don't know if it's coffee flavored or donut flavored. I would assume coffee. It seems like they're trying to rebrand more in that image.
Yeah. I'm just having a weird like deja vu moment of whether I read about this cereal. I was going to posit a guess on what kind of flavor it was, but I think it was just a dream.
You dreamed about the Dunkin' Donuts cereal?
Well, just now I created a false memory of having seen the commercial.
I see.
Have you tried the Miracle Berries yet?
No. What's a Miracle Berry?
I didn't give you those?
Oh, wait, the sour things?
Yeah.
No, I haven't had anything sour.
Okay.
Come across.
Put some stuff on your grocery list or whatever. Get at least a grapefruit and a lime, a lemon, and some new strawberries.
Okay. It's going to negate the sour flavor.
It's going to transform it into sweetness.
Okay.
You guys talking about flavor tripping?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Kevin bought stock in this company or something.
Kevin's stock portfolio would be this flavor stuff, 32 Degrees and MeUndies and maybe Dr. Squatch.
Yep.
I moved all of my MeUndies interest into 32 Degrees.
Okay.
Because it's the same, to my butt, it's the same like quality of underpants, and they are 20% of the cost of MeUndies. So I think we're done with them, especially because I did get reports from a couple people that the promo code wasn't working on their website.
Oh no!
Yeah, we're done.
Did MeUndies? Did they offer any other kind of wear besides underwear, or was it just strictly undies?
They did T-shirts too, but the T-shirts did not hold up in terms of keeping the neck shape. They didn't. The T-shirts were not a product that they had any business charging a premium for.
Gotcha.
So, Dr. Squatch, likewise, for a while there, I was happy to just let one bar of kind of fancy little soap show up every month. But that is annoyingly expensive too. So I'm bearish on Dr. Squatch these days.
Too many subscriptions, man. You know.
Yeah, Dr. Squatch, I'm seeing actual advertisements, though. Like, that was one that you just hear on podcasts, but now they're upgraded into the real commercial space.
What they do, too, is the YouTube commercials that annoy me a lot, because I think I use YouTube too much for just, like, listening to music or whatever. Sometimes I'm taking a shower, that's how I'll put together a playlist of a few songs.
Yeah.
And the YouTube commercials piss me off because if you're in the shower, the commercial could run for 3 minutes and always giving you the option of skipping the ads. But if I'm in the shower, I just get so mad at the companies that like I'm turned off of wanting to buy a product. If it was close, if I kind of wanted to before, now I don't want to anymore.
Yeah, no one should advertise on YouTube for any reason for the reasons of hatred.
That's how
that you just described.
That's how the channels. It's an ad-driven, platform. I mean, that's how those content creators get paid, boys.
But what is that? The whole structure of like, we're going to have a commercial where if someone's like, no one's watching that, so it's either going to run for 5 seconds if the person is actually present with their phone,
right?
Or it'll run for an hour, but no one's going to see it.
Yeah, I guess for music, it doesn't really make sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. Every once in a while, especially since I started shaving my head, it takes a little longer in there. It's like an extra 10 minutes. And I've been putting a little Bluetooth speaker in there and listening to podcasts while I shower, and that's just a delight. Very relaxing. Sorry I had to pop out, guys. I had a 5-year-old losing her shit.
No, we were concerned that there was a small conflagration in your kitchen that you had to check in on.
No.
Okay.
I'm back. A congregation in my kitchen?
That's right.
Conflagration.
What's that mean? What's a
I think it's a fire.
conflagration?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's a tiny fire.
You couldn't say you couldn't say a tiny fire?
Well, I said small conflagration, so that's
No
a
one
little bit redundant.
No one knows what that means. Well, except for Kevin, I guess.
Next time you take your SATs or your GREs, your MCATs, you can use that.
Going for the GED, sir. What are you talking about?
Well, you can use that. You can use that in the essay section.
They'll let me clean the shitter down at the discount tires if I get my GED. It's good money, man. Do you guys want my movie quiz real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So it's 2020 movies, and I give you a line of dialogue, and you name the movie released in 2020.
All right.
You haven't
ready?
seen anything that was released in 2020.
That's all you did was watch movies in 2020.
Yeah, but none of them were from 2020.
Yeah, you watched a couple. You'll do better. I think both of you will do fine. I really tried to pick, like, gettable quotes. So yeah, first to shout it out gets the point, and this is not our next ongoing game. Hopefully we can announce that next week, and let's get into it. All right, films released in 2020.
Wait, so this is just for fun?
This is just for fun.
Damn it.
Yep.
I'm sober. I have a chance to actually get a point.
Well,
I have a point.
We'll do points. Yeah, we'll count this towards the game. That's fine. Even though we don't know what the game is. We'll do it. Yeah, we can do that. All right. Here's your first quote. You mean reverse chronology, like Feynman or Wheeler's notion that a tenet is correct. Kevin grabbing the first point.
Still haven't seen that. Is that worth my time and effort?
Yeah, it's a whole conversation. I say yes, but with an asterisk.
That means no.
Yeah. It's just so convoluted. And it's built on a premise that they don't really explain. Like, even with movie science, it's kind of like, after they explain it, you're like, yeah, but it's got holes. All right, your next quote. Don't worry, they're fine. You can't crush a soul here. That's what life on Earth is for. Soul is correct. Kevin on fire.
I did see that one.
Next quote. There are 3 kinds of people. The ones above, the ones below, and the ones who fall.
That's also Soul.
No, this came out early 2020, and I'm pretty sure you guys both have seen it.
The Invisible Man.
There are 3 kinds of people, Joe. The ones above,
Birds
the
of
ones
prey.
below, and the ones who fall.
Gravity. Falling down.
The
3 kinds of people.
The answer is the platform. The Italian movie. Did you watch that one, Kevin?
No, I ain't seen that.
Okay, you'll like it, right, Joe? Kevin would like it.
Yeah.
You should watch
I would say go in knowing nothing about it.
Exactly. Yes.
And you're gonna have to read too.
That's fine.
Yeah. Right. Or do they have a dub? Either way, you'll be fine. You'll like it. It's good enough that
I actually kind of like subtitles. I always feel like I'm missing things in the dialogue, normally.
It's fair. All right, here's your next quote. We've spent our whole life trying to write the song that will unite the world. What makes us think...
It's 3. Bill and Ted Face the Music.
There you go. Joe gets a point, finally. Whew. All right. That was close. All right. Finally.
Almost gave it away by saying 3 instead of the name.
Finally, the time had come to deliver my daughter to the vice pussy grabber.
Borat 2. Do I have to do the whole thing?
I don't know. Can either one of you name the real title of it?
Borat Make Glorious sequel?
No. I mean, unless Joe can name the full title, Kevin gets the point.
Hold on. Let me
Google it real quick.
No, that's it. Borat 2. Something sequel. No, I can't do it.
It's subsequent movie film.
Okay.
All right. Kevin grabs another point. Next quote goes like this. He said that wherever I went, he would find me, walk right up to me, and I wouldn't be able to see him.
The Invisible Man.
Ooh. I'll give you both a point for that, I guess.
I think I should get it because I said it way earlier in the game, so I actually said it first.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, I don't think
you're on cooldown. You're not allowed to say it for another 10 minutes. I think split the point, throw it out, whatever.
Okay. Just give you each a point. It feels better. Here's your next quote. I guess you followed me. It's one of those infinite time loop situations you may have heard of.
Also Tenet?
No. A lot of heady reality and time movies this year. It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
The Infinite.
The Time Loop.
No, this one's called Palm Springs.
Oh, I did see that one too. Damn it.
That was a nice one. We got
Kevin. It almost sounded like you were doing the Andy Samberg voice a little bit too.
We got Kevin up by 2 points. Here's your next one. I'm telling you, if you want boys to respect you, you have to show them that you're serious. Blow something up. Shoot someone. Nothing gets Nothing gets a guy's attention like violence.
Birds of Prey.
Nicely done. There you go.
We did see that one too.
The Harley Quinn movie. That one's skippable in my opinion.
Yeah. That came out, wasn't that 2019?
That was...
No, that was January.
Yeah.
That's right.
Early 2020. All right, here we go. Do you know why the Phoenix sits on the right hand of the Emperor? She is his guardian, his protector.
Wonder Woman 84.
And she is both beautiful and strong. Your job is to bring honor to the family. Do you think you can do that?
Phoenix. Mulan.
Good job. Oh my God! So we are tied with only one movie quote left.
Ooh.
Here we go for all the bananas. And if you two decide to have sex,
Wonder Woman 1984.
And if you two decide to have sex on the counter, the bleach is in the back room. I don't want to. Promising Young Woman is correct. Good job, Kevin.
Oh, he cheated. He saw that movie. That's fucked up.
Oh, Kevin for the win.
Well done. Well done.
We'll do. We'll give you a point.
But that wasn't for a point or anything, though. Towards the game, at least.
It was. By your request. So there you go. Little movie game. 2020 movies. Yeah, weird year. Weird year for movies. Lots delayed. Lots coming out this year. Still looking forward to that first movie date with you boys. I think we should all grab a full strength beer and go hit up the AMC or maybe the Gateway Film Center and watch something. It'd be fun.
Yeah. I'm no longer attached to the Gateway. My past is gone, so I'm back in the agency of seeing a movie anywhere.
Go back up there. Go north and hit the Crosswoods, and then hit up Slapsy Maxie's and
get it all.
Get a close look at all the people pissed about Trump's second impeachment. It'd be fun.
Hopefully they're Slapsy Maskies still.
Ooh.
Yeah. There you go. A little bit of gaming talk. Got the new computer running. Loving the ability to do some ray tracing. And I tested Cyberpunk and Control. That's been really nice. And then there is a new game on the Xbox Game Pass called Wreckfest, which we played. I have it on the console and on PC. We gave it a good few races a couple nights ago, and I think there's a lot of fun to be had in there. So if you're subscribed to Game Pass, I would say install it and give it a go. It's kind of like a super generic feeling racing game with an emphasis on the vehicle damage and destruction. So there's crash derbies as well as full-on races, but your vehicle has like a health bar. Pretty easy on the eyes, some decent graphics, and yeah, maybe check that out if you get a chance. Kev, I forget, are you on Game Pass? No? You still are? Yeah, make sure you get that one installed for the next time we're all online. It's like a 25 gigger, but good stuff. Joe, what are you playing right now, buddy? Did you ever get that PS4?
Nope, not yet.
I have news for you as soon as you.
Yeah.
If you want it now, or do you want to tell me what game you're playing, or
I can tell you real quick. I'm
Tell me,
still going the same two I think I was last week. I'm still doing San Andreas and Snake Eater.
Oh, fun.
High def.
Classics, man.
Now, Snake Eater I still suck at real bad.
So have you paid the Invisible Hand?
No.
Okay.
I've not paid either.
So it's not a done deal just yet. The Super Shark, he's offering his Xbox One X for $150. So, Kevin, you're buying it?
I'll buy it.
Okay. So Kevin wants it. Never mind, Joe.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Kevin,
Good doing business with you.
You would be good to update that thing and be on the mid generation refresh. I think it runs a lot better and can push 4K and stuff like that. So there you go, video game update.
All right, I was eating Teddy Grahams.
Yeah, you were.
Joe, you can have my Xbox if I buy Joel's.
Ooh, now we're getting somewhere.
Wait, why are you buying the system you already have?
Because the one that I have is like a first wave, and I think that it's, it gets a little bit clippy sometimes when we're playing GTA. Even Rocket League, there are times when I wonder if I should be able to see the ball better from the other end of the court.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be an upgrade for me.
There you go. Yeah. And then for the first time ever, Kevin, he'll be on the same system as us, and we can all have Joe join us in the cock fu parties.
Well, my internet will still be shit.
You don't need strong internet to play video games online. I think you'll be okay. As long as you're not torrenting porn in your office while you try to play, you should be fine. A lot of people think you have to have a super high bitrate to do online gaming. It's like, I think 8 megabytes per second or something is like what's required. Like it's more about ping than it is download speeds and stuff. So should be good, Joe.
Okay.
Like I think Microsoft recommends 15, but you'll be fine. Bright days are ahead of us.
I like it.
Got to get this man on my platform.
Gonna have so many options in front of me. What will I do first?
That's right. Cool. Movie talk, game talk. Did I miss anything while I was gone? What'd you guys get into?
We we brought up the heaven and hell stuff, but we gave it a very ham-handed sort of glossing over. So I don't know. I think it can be fun. I still want to bring that up some other time. Let's re-zip the bag on that one.
We'll seal it back up. Put it back in this drawer for next week when we have Carl Boy here too. Yeah, we have some new merch. We have some new merch on our website, so make sure you check that out. Especially if you have very strong opinions one way or another. Maybe you'll find a product there that you enjoy.
You might also just need a tote, and this is the first place you click on.
Did you actually preview that image on a tote?
Yeah, no, there's a tote version of it.
There you go. Who the fuck buys a tote?
My mom has 1,000 of them.
Yeah, but she has 1,000 because you're supposed to just be given a tote,
Yeah, totes are free.
When you go to the baseball game or, I don't know, the library or something.
Here, take a tote.
Yeah. But you see him from time to time, people walking into the grocery store with him, and then they save like a nickel because they didn't have to use bags.
Yeah, I was. We do a lot of our grocery shopping at Aldi's, and you have to buy your bags if you forgot something to put them in. And I've been bringing these goofy totes and random grocery bags and stuff